not great at impressions like Tori is. So I'm going to leave that to the comedians. My name is Stephanie Guerra, and I am also known as Puro Pinche here in San Antonio. Some of y'all have heard of me. Thank you very much. Thank you to Tori and TPR for asking me to moderate this conversation. I am so excited because we want to talk about women breaking through walls, breaking down barriers in comedy and every industry. And I have some questions for the group tonight. Let's give it up for all their sets again. They were amazing. This is an amazing lineup right here. I think, if this had its own national show, we would blow everybody away, right? So it'd be really awesome. But we also are inviting the crowd to ask questions. We have an open format Q&A session. So if you have a question, there's a microphone right over there on that stand. Don't be afraid. Go up. And then we do want to ask everybody one more time to fill in these seats. If you don't mind just moving down. I know you're kind of comfortable already, but trickle in as you like and come closer. There's plenty of room. Remember, this is a taping, so we want it to look great. Okay, well, again, Puro Pinche, I talk about culture, entertainment, and events going on here in San Antonio. I don't know if I'm allowed to say I'm on a local news channel on Friday nights.
Of course. We're not monsters.
I'm
know
on
who does it right.
on Friday nights talking about upcoming events for the weekend. And I love to include comedy. I love that we have so much comedy in San Antonio and can travel nearby to Austin and the Valley to go see comedy also. But I love that you all come here to San Antonio. So I'd love to know, more comedy in San Antonio. I would like everybody to briefly introduce yourselves again. Where are you from, and how did you get your start in comedy?
We
Sonia.
start on that side, right? I'm just kidding.
Tori went first already.
I'm sorry. So my name is Sonia Trevino. I am from the Rio Grande Valley. And how
Puro
did I get
956.
Puro 956. Are we going to do this? How did I get started? Is that the question?
Yes.
Let's see here. Well, I've always wanted to do sketch comedy for years since I was a kid. I would write stuff with my friends all the time, and then one day, heartbreak, and then I just hit an open mic, and boom, the rest is history. That's how I started.
Do you know the place where you did the first open mic?
Well, it wasn't even open mic. It was a real show. Because I live in the Valley, we didn't have open mic, so Cine El Rey, that's my home. That's,
awesome, Cine El
theater
Rey.
that's been around since 1947.
Yes. Are there open mics now?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
Cheers.
Moving on up.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Avery Moore. I'm from San Antonio, Texas. I went to MacArthur. If that means anything to any of you, I'm sure it does. We all just ask each other, what high school did you go to? I went to Mac when it looked like a prison, not when it was beautiful. Used to be like a beautiful, like ranch style architecture, mid-century, and then they were like, nope, prison. How I got started, I was a child actor. I was my mom helped found the Magic Theater downtown. So I was raised in River Center Mall raised me. And I would hear the open mic coming from upstairs next to the Sam Goody, and I would go to get bourbon chicken every Saturday, and I was like, one day I'm gonna do that. And I started acting, and I worked at the theater. I was in their touring company and stuff, and then when I was 19, I just decided to commit myself, because that's all I ever wanted to do was make people laugh. So I did it, and it's pretty cool. It's been a long time. Yeah.
Hey y'all, I'm Genivive. I'm from Detroit. I live what up, dope? I live in Austin now, or Pflugerville, the Flug. I started comedy in 2016. I was a truck driver at the time, and I was like, well, this is scary, and I think stand-up is scary, and I'm weighing out the scariness. One could kill you, the other one's pussy jokes, so I'm all like, I tried that.
My name's Angelina. I'm from California, and I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm used to just like flinching when I say that, just preparing for backlash. But I'm not, I'm one of the poor Californians. You can just tell by my teeth. So I crawled to Austin like 9 years ago, and I always knew I wanted to do comedy, but I spent a few years just lurking at open mics in the back watching. It took me years to work up the nerve to get up on stage. But then I did, and I decided to get all of my self-worth from this. So, yeah, it's going great.
Hi, I'm Tori. I'm an alcoholic, and hi, thank you.
Wrong.
I've been doing comedy for 6 years. I started in San Antonio. My first mic was at Laugh Out Loud. It was terrible. And then I also got to do River Center. It was still open.
When both of those mics happened when the sun was still up.
yeah, it was not.
Sucks.
It was not great.
You don't want to do that.
But I liked it. There were no women, and I was like, okay, this seems like a challenge I want to do. So, yeah, there's like 5 now. It's pretty tight.
We got all 5 here tonight.
Yeah, I feel like when I started, there were no women, and it was just me and Allie Amrine, and then we left, and then it was just you.
Yeah. Now there's more. I'm glad that it's growing. You guys start comedy. Help me. I need more women in the scene.
We're the only one in the Rio Grande Valley right now.
Yes, only one in the Puro
Jesus
96.
Out of the Rio Grande Valley right now. Yeah. Yeah. I
And
know.
you're here right now, so there's actually 0 right
all
there.
the fucking
Nah,
dick
I know.
jokes.
She's like, I'm here, so there's none.
We need to get some of those people off TikTok and into real life comedy shows,
No.
right? Yes, let's get them off here. All right. Well, a lot of you all tonight talked about your family members and your friends in your sets, right? And it can be a good thing or a bad thing. But what do your friends and family think about that? And are they in the crowds when you talk about them? What's the process behind building out talking about your family? If anybody wants to talk about how they put their family on blast. Avery.
My mom saw me for the first time 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah! Wow. Congrats.
Yeah, she didn't like anybody else. That's like true mom stuff. Oh, I loved you. You were great. That's so smart. What you doing? But those other people, I'll tell you. I'm like, oh, you mean the nationally global touring headliner, mom? Okay.
Yeah, well, I talk about my dad and my brother and my mom a bit. My mom, I had a bit about her and she has a toe that wiggles because of some nerve damage, and it really fucked me up as a kid. The ta 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 ta. I was like Edgar Allan Poe, like, and I tried to do a bit on that, and it hurt her feelings so bad, and so I've really avoided writing about my family. Not just because of that, but I have I'm in therapy now. Let's just lay it out there. And it's pretty hard to do that on stage and make it funny without, hurting someone's feelings. But I'm learning how to do that now. I'm learning how to write about my family because it's important, because that's part of my life, and I can't always just do fucking banana phone shit, you know? I gotta start getting real. I'm in my mid-30s now. I gotta start talking about my trauma. No, I'm not gonna. But I don't know. I talk about my dad a lot, and he thinks it's great.
I talk about everyone in my life. So if you're in my life, it's gonna happen, and I don't really care about your feelings about it either. I like writing from experience because I feel like no one else can take that from me. No one is gonna think about my take on things, so I enjoy writing like about my mom or my aunt who got really offended. But I was just like, do you want in or out? Okay, so if you're in my life, I'm sorry.
I was worried about what my family would think about I don't do that much stand-up about them, but the few jokes I do have about them they're like based in truth, but they're, exaggerated to fit my narrative at the moment. So I'm like, in this joke, they're Puritans, and in this joke, they're hippie liberal freaks, when both are true. But yeah, I was a little worried because my parents are in reality, like they're pretty Christian, and they're teetotalers. They're not the most wild children, and they don't watch like any stand up, but they were I don't know, when they saw me perform, I was pleasantly surprised that they liked it. They didn't have any qualms about me mentioning them, and my mom was texting me punch ups for my dirty jokes backstage, and she was like, "You should hear some metaphors for oral sex for you." I didn't want to hear that from your mom, but I guess it's better than you not being supportive. And the few people that I've like dated that I've mentioned in my stand-up, like most of them don't really have a problem with it, but some guy that I dated was like, "I really don't like that joke you told about me," and I had to tell him, like, that's actually about a guy I dated 4 years ago. You're not funny enough. I don't know if that made him feel better.
I'm just gonna say really quick, my son loves it. He's actually with me backstage. He loves going to the I know, but oh no, don't even, that guy's an adult. He's 25. It's hilarious because he thinks that because I'm his mother and I'm the comedian that he's gonna get laid. He thinks that he's gonna get, that the women are gonna
That's so bad.
I know. He thinks the women are gonna flaunt to him like I'm the comedian and I don't get laid. Like no, it's not gonna happen. He loves it. My mother thinks it's hilarious. She doesn't realize that she's like the reason why I'm even here. But yeah. But other than that, everybody knows. Like, and I, just don't say names, right? Everybody knows that you're gonna make jokes about them.
I have such a problem with saying everyone's full ass name.
Yeah, I like saying my dad's name. Comfort me, fool.
I'll say bosses' names. I'm like out there fucking doxing people all the time. I feel so bad. But you know what?
I don't, because it's about me. I'm like, this is the only attention I get, man. I'm gonna talk about me.
Remind me not to become really close friends with you all.
Too late.
Yeah, too late.
Okay, well, and we want to be serious tonight a little bit, right? And we want to talk about, obviously, besides pretending you care about what your family and friends think when you make fun of them, struggles that you face in comedy. We hear a lot about sexism from fellow male comedians and sexism from the audience and toxic culture. And I know you all, it's great because you are on amazing lineups that can be made up of completely full of men. But how does it? What are some of the struggles, if you want to touch on those, if you will not get sued? Talk about the issues that you face, because we want to know how to support you.
I think it's I'll break the ice. These are all the men. Just kidding. That we wronged me. I think that it's interesting how some men have been really supportive and then some others aren't. Like, I've been on shows where the person that brings me up before is like, "Give it up for the comedian." It's this really funny one. We got one woman here, guys. Give it up for the comedian. And it always like gets under my skin because just call me a comedian. That's so weird. Comedian, like, it's not cute. I don't think it's cute. But I think that lately, as you're more established, I think the scariest part is when you're first starting and not knowing how to deal with men that may be a little archaic. I don't know. Like, they're from back in the day somehow, 1950s or something. I think that's the worst part, is like not knowing how to come off as not being too bitchy or too forward, because that's something we have to constantly worry about.
Yeah, and it's really, and I wanted to say not archaic, like what they're still fucking doing right now. Like, it's not even like 1950s mindset. Like, these guys, like, it's not like the fucking cat skills. Like, You know, like that comedy scene, like where they're like, look at that dame up there, like telling jokes, like, and you know, like, don't ever ask me about Marvelous Miss Maisel because I don't fucking watch it, and I'm never gonna watch it. But like, that's not what comedy's like, and it is really, really hard because backstage before this, I was worried about the material that I was gonna do because it's on TPR, and rest assured that no fucking dude would ever think about what he was gonna say. They just come out, but we get judged differently, and what our comedy gets looked through a different lens, and we get criticized differently.
And we get weird advice, like
we get weird advice that we didn't fucking ask for.
My first year, they were like, if you want to be on the main stage, nobody wants to hear about who you slept with or who you or your vagina. Just keep all that, you know, just write jokes and don't talk about anything with dating or who's been inside of you. And I was like, this guy really cares about who's been inside of me. This is so weird. But then he went up and did 5 minutes on his dick. And
yeah, they're allowed to do it all they fucking want.
I'm so confused because he said it was big, it was small. I don't know.
I remember being told, don't talk about your period. Nobody wants to hear about that.
Always.
And
Why
I
are
remember
they scared about our period?
And when I first started, I remember thinking, yeah, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm not going to talk about it. But now it's like, no, I'm going to do it. Shove it down your throat.
I fucking ate that misogyny up, dude, and was like, no, I'm going to write different material. I'm never going to talk about who I dated or my personal life or my fucking pussy or anything on stage. And I'm just going to be like uniquely me. And luckily, I'm a psychopath and there was a lot up there to be a cartoon on stage and not have to do that. But that's not fair because I've spent 14 years not writing comedy about myself because I was worried that I was going to be seen as that kind of female comic. And that's fucked up. 14 years of my life that I didn't get to write about myself because of self-imposed like misogynistic views because I wanted to be so accepted by that group.
Due to the beautiful power of weed, I have floated by and have watched every male that has some bullshit to say. I have floated past their ass.
There you go. Yeah,
Like, y'all ever got like compliments for like, they basically saying you look like a Raggedy Ann doll and they like compliment you. Oh, I used to get like, oh, I like how you don't bring up sex or being attractive or none of this shit like that. I'm like, what the fuck you trying to say? Like, you know what I mean? Oh, you look better in heels. And I'm like, with that statement, you look better in cuffs. How about that? Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of backhanded compliments and just I've gotten weird introductions. I remember on this one show where I was the only woman on the lineup, which happens sometimes, less often these days. And I was like watching the guy before me do like jokes about sexual assault. And then the host brings me up and he says, this next comic, now for something a little different, we got a comic with a whole different set of genitals. Give it up for Angela. And that's not my name. In case you guys don't remember, that's not my name. And that's what I had to go up to. And it's like, it's just, you know, it's like I'm starting like down a peg. And I had the choice between being like, do I use up some of my stage time to like, you know, address this and roast the host and or do I just like do my set? And I chose to just do my set. And that's kind of like the mentality I've just chosen to take for my own sanity a lot of the times when I'm addressed with or when like faced with, you know, misogyny, whether it's overt or subtle. I just try to view it as like a little inside joke with myself and let it drive me. Like when I went back to open mics after like taking a break during the pandemic, and I'd already been doing comedy for like 5 years before the pandemic or 4 years or something. But I went back to open mics and some, you know, new comics who hadn't seen me before, who had just started like a few months previous, they would see my set and they would be like, hey, you weren't that bad. Hey, you should keep it up.
You're pretty funny for a woman. Yeah.
Truly, that was the energy. And at first, you know, my pride was like wounded, but I was like, but then I just decided to find it funny. I was like, you really think so? can you give me any tips? I would really appreciate it.
We should write together.
Yeah.
Do you want to meet up alone and write together?
Ew.
So yeah, I just try to let it drive in, but it definitely can be really discouraging. I started open mics with a friend of mine initially, and we'd go to open mics together and be each other's comedy accountability buddies. And she actually got really discouraged and quit comedy due to all like the just like really sexist, bigoted nature of a lot of open mics. But I kept going, and then I went to shows just to watch and observe, and I realized, a lot of these like really sexist, shitty open micers, they're not getting booked on shows. Like they're staying at the open mics. So I told her that, and she came back to comedy, and now she's headlining. So. Yeah.
I would like to say that it's a shame how many women I have seen just stop. Because it's like you have to live your whole other life, and you don't have the fucking energy to deal with it. So people just stop because it's hard when you get started.
It's true.
Yeah, like how the talent that was lost, like, or not lost, but like that we don't get to see because of this bullshit.
Because they don't feel safe.
Because they literally don't feel safe.
It's
Cool.
annoying.
Fucking cool, man.
So
not.
on the flip side, can you all talk a little bit about your experience being on an all-female lineup like tonight? Like, how is that experience different? Is it a safe space? Thank you for TPR for putting this together as a all-female lineup in a space, and compared to what you normally have to, the shit you normally have to deal with.
I have two opinions. Like I used to not, like in the beginning, I would only get put like on all Mexican shows or all female shows. And I was like, yo, this is weird. Like I'm a person. So I started turning them down, like all female shows. I was just like, I'm not going to do it. I don't want to do it. But then, I would say this is my first all female lineup that I've been on in quite some time. And I'm so proud that it was with you guys. So yeah.
Love you, Tori. Love you, Tori. I love you all.
I think shows like these are really fun, but I've also just noticed and appreciated that as I've been in comedy longer, I've noticed that there just happens to be all women line up sometimes, and it's like not really like an intentional
It's not
thing.
like ladies' night.
Yeah, exactly. Like I remember like when we started like comedy, like there were some all women shows, and really good intentions, but some of them had some names.
Oh my God, Ladies of the Night. I was asked to be on Ladies of the Night.
Yeah, what was that one at Rain? That was like at the gay club that was all.
Yes, it's stuff like the Vag Hour.
Yeah,
and
like, and I was just like,
the Clit
I
Zone.
want the stage time on Vag Hour.
Yeah. So yeah, take it, and they'd be fun shows most of the time, but it just felt a little weird. So now it's nice just seeing like, here's an awesome headliner who is a woman, and yeah, her feature acts are women too, and like it's not like mentioned, normal. And that's cool too. But also it's it's cool to be, you got to be overt sometimes. But I don't know, I'm just appreciative that I see a lot more women in comedy these days.
Me too.
I get excited since I'm the only one from the Valley. I'm always with dudes all the time, so when I get the chance, I get excited. Yeah. I do, but also I have the mixed feelings about it as well. But I just get excited. Like backstage, I was already like, "Hey, so hi." I was trying to talk to everybody, and they're like, "We're trying to get ready," So, but I get excited.
You got to come to Austin.
I know. Hold my hand.
Come on up. We'll do jokes
Together.
Awesome.
Okay, go for it.
At first, when I used to get all women lineups, I used to be a little misogynistic myself and be like B-list celebrities, you know what I mean, of the comedy scene, like, or whatever, or some of us couldn't cut it with the fellas, or something like that. But then I like started to realize like, oh, this is where you're gonna start building community. You know what I mean? Like this is where like the amount of wealth and knowledge, because they're not just spending the whole time trying to be misogynistic and telling dick jokes and gay jokes. They're actually networking and like putting the foundation down for other people to come through. And like, it was like, if it wasn't for women in this scene, I don't think I would get booked half as much as I do, Austin and San Antonio, wherever. And also, and then like you go into it kind of nervous because it's like all comedians are weird, but women comedians are very weird. But after this, I'm like, I don't even care if we sync periods. I'm so happy to be here with y'all.
That was my intention. I just really wanted that community. Let's diva cup it up, babies.
Sorry, I'm on it right now. So.
I just
Sorry.
wrapped
You did not sign me up for this. With my consent. Thank you.
That's actually a bonus. We're all cycling together now.
And if you're not, just start concentrating, really.
I just had an image of everybody in a cycle class. That was fun.
We could turn the studio into a spin studio.
The spin class.
Already spinning.
Are there any things that you think could make stand-up more inclusive to women? Obviously,
The industry.
hand out, right? Like, and lifting each other up and inviting each other to the shows. But
Yeah.
is there anything that anybody else can do?
Yeah, the fucking industry can step up and start showcasing women because it's just like how we all have to participate in mutual aid all the time. We always have to help each other all the time through like whatever disaster is going on in the United States. We count on each other. And I'm really tired of us having to hold each other up and count. I mean, we are going to, and that's one of the most beautiful things about it is women holding up women and the communities that we build and foster. But like, where are the Netflix specials and the Comedy Central specials? There's a lot of them. Angelina's on Comedy Central, like fucking awesome set. Like there's a lot of really great opportunities, but they're still mostly going to do white men with beards. The movie deals, the pilot, like the scripts that they buy. I mean, not right now because they're in this strike, but like it's still mostly going to white dudes, and it's just dudes in general, and it's like I don't know. I'm really excited about all the female directors that are. I mean, Greta Gerwig just breaking all those records. Like, think
Hi,
what you
Barbie.
fucking want about Barbie. It was a really good movie, and if you don't like it, you're dumb. Just straight up, it's good. You're dumb. No, you probably read Jordan Peterson or something. A loser.
Yeah, you're really dumb if you read them too.
Yeah. But I just, the industry could do their part and stop being performative allies and actually be allies.
So if anyone is in the industry here, take
yeah.
note, do
Yeah,
better.
TPR. Why don't you?
Or watching this online.
But yeah, I feel like for citizens, I feel like just give your money to women. But no, really, like go see shows, go see like women headliners at comedy clubs, and prove that women are worth investing in, and they'll hire more women to headline if you go sell them out.
The greatest sketch comedy and improv comedy happening in Austin are all female groups, female and queer groups, and they're fucking really, really good. And like I don't even like improv, but I'm just kidding. You guys didn't laugh at that, and
It was
a
like,
cheap
wow, this
shot.
got dark.
It was a cheap shot I shouldn't have made. But yeah, it's it's out there, so go see it and but spend the money on us.
and pay you all fairly, right? Because you don't want to hear that the male comedian before or after you got paid more.
Well,
than
and
you
that's a
did.
huge thing with the industry is transparency. Maria Bamford's out there right now talking about very openly about what she gets paid and trying to level that playing field. And she's one of the angels of all time. She's a gift, and like just everything that she's done for younger comics is really, really incredible. She's helped me a lot before, and I like people just stepping up in those positions, not of power, but people that are maybe have a bigger platform like she does, being transparent like that and being like, this is what I get paid, and this is what these dudes are getting paid. And there's a big discrepancy there. So if the industry was more transparent about what they are paying their talent and what they're paying headliners and what Netflix is paying these fucking chuckle fucks to fucking put out these terrible, terrible specials when there's talent all over the country of young people and young women that are ready to just burn this place to the ground with really, really great comedy. But no, let's let Aziz Ansari do it again, right? Like fucking whatever, man.
Vote for Avery. Woo!
I got a lot to say. You made a mistake inviting me to this panel.
No, I didn't.
I'm just kidding. Thanks for having me.
Do we want to talk about hecklers tonight? I don't know.
Yes, we do.
All right. Well, it's one of our questions. Well, I think we can just say we can sum up the question in how do you handle hecklers? How do you prefer to, or can you think of an experience where maybe it went well or maybe it didn't?
I shut that shit down. Like, honestly, like, I will fight you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I threaten to fight people.
No, I think it's weird. I've had a couple of different hecklers. Sometimes I think the weirdest hecklers are the ones that are like sexual. I don't like that. I opened up for dwarf wrestling. And I made a mistake of wearing a short skirt or whatever and tights, and I thought, I'm so cute, but
You made the mistake?
I trusted the venue, and people were yelling out such obscene things that I had to be like, all right, let's talk about your mom. You know, I throw it back at them. I think that men sometimes have a hard time listening to women, and they feel like threatened by it, and they want to be heard. And it's always a man, usually a Mexican man, TBH. And so I like to address it. My favorite thing to tell him is like, oh my God, it's always a Mexican dude. You guys want to fuck or fight? I'm so tired of it. Like, just let mama work, you know? But yeah, I handle it. I try to handle it. And sometimes it can go bad because, again, when you're addressing someone interrupting your writing, it's like, it throws you off, you know? And so I have to like find the balance of like not being too bitchy and not losing the people that already like me, right? And it's this weird balance where I have to be likable, but also shut it down and then get back to the joke. So it's a different skill, but it's always a guy or a drunk girl that wants to like have sex with me. So.
I think having to be likable while we're doing it is a big thing. Women have to be likable while we're shutting stuff down. We can't, because then, like, I've been turned on and, like, just bomb my fucking, for lack of a better word, dick off after that because I stood up to somebody who was heckling me. And it's like, yeah, sometimes I pop off and I threaten to fight people. But, like, you know, I should, it's just, we shouldn't have to, dudes will literally say, like, just the most terrible things in the world to people to shut hecklers down. But if a woman does it, like, the show's over.
Yeah, I've seen
But there's
that a
videos all
lot.
over YouTube that are like, guy shuts down heckler, and they make their whole careers out of it. But, like, you know, there's still that we have to be, like, kind. We got to be nice all the time.
I had one woman heckling me during a show, and I remember I kept, joke around with her and then try to get her to be quiet, but she got drunker. So then I got to the point, I was like, dude, I don't understand what you're doing. Like, you're a woman, I'm a woman. And you're interrupting me.
Like, trying to appeal.
Like, you're interrupting me. I'm trying to do a show here. Why can't you support me and shut your mouth, you know? And then they're like, yeah, everybody clapped, and then they took her out. So I was like, oh, now is the bad guy. But yeah, you're right, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I remember saying whatever I had to say to this one lady on stage because I didn't do that much crowd work. I don't do that much crowd work now, but it's like I didn't do that much then. And then, like, I think I ended up singing like Aretha Franklin's like respect and shit just to get the crowd together. And then afterwards, she was just like came at me with this weird energy. And I remember finding myself like thanking her, like, oh, you know, us as comics, we need to improve ourselves, and you know what I'm saying, we need to go through challenges and hoops. I'm like, if we want to go through challenges and hoops, then we'll fucking audition for Spill Your Guts or some shit. Is that a reference too old?
A little, but it's okay. We got it.
I don't know no better reference, but like whatever, real hoops. You know what I mean? But now I see people like that's the clips now. You know what I mean? Like that's the popular content. Like dealing with people, but I in no other profession is that like okay. You know what I mean? Nobody was like Aristotle, boo. You know what I mean?
Take your clothes off, Aristotle.
Show us
your dick.
Show us your dick. Let me take you on a date.
Maybe there was, but they just like executed them. Right?
We should bring it back.
Yeah, I think I agree.
Yeah.
In the Bible, some kids were making fun of this one guy, and he like cursed his ass, and like some pigs came and ate him.
Do it.
That's heckling biblical right there. Biblical heckling.
I did pay a guy $5 to stop heckling me once. It was this like comedy show where you got paid cash like at the end of your set. Like they had a panel of judges buying jokes from you. And this guy was talking during my set. He was saying stuff like, that a girl. Like I'm a horse in the Kentucky Derby. There you go. And I had a short amount of time. I was a couple years in. I was pretty green. I was like, I don't want to interrupt my set to address this guy. So I waited till I was done. I got handed a stack of cash by the judges on stage. And then I just took 5 of it and gave it to the guy in the front row. And I was like, please stop talking. He was the most upset person to ever receive $5. He did not like that.
Really funny. I just want to tell a quick story about getting heckled when I was like, I don't think I was even 21 yet. And I was hosting at River Center, which the club isn't there anymore in the mall. And this guy, all the shoppers would come in all the time. Like people that were shopping at the mall would just buy tickets and just get to come in, or the manager would just give up in the middle of the show and just let people in for bodies, in the seats. And this guy comes in, this big bald fat dude comes in with all these shopping bags and his wife, and they have Dosaritas. And they're like schooner size, like big old ones. And he falls asleep. And then like in the middle of my set, he just woke up and goes, whore! I was like a baby teenager, and I didn't know what to do. And I was like in the middle of bringing up the feature act, and I forgot his name because the guy called me a whore, and I was like, zip, zap, zoop. Like, I didn't know what to do. So I just read the calendar because it had the guy's name on it. But yeah, like it really fucks us up. Don't do it. Like some of us aren't neurotypical, and it's really hard to even get one word out. So fucking stop heckling. Sorry.
I will say that after a heckle, it always happens. Whoever's heckling comes up to me after the show, and they're like, I was just helping you out. I was just helping you out. I was just helping the little girl out.
Use that your next show.
And I'm like, oh, have a drink and drive.
I love that. I love you, girl. I love you, girl. And they just hug you.
They didn't hear about COVID. Stop randomly hugging me.
Please stop touching me.
Okay, well, I do want to ask if the audience has any questions. I know we said come up whenever, but that can be a little intimidating. So now I'm going to put you in the spotlight and ask you to come up. Anybody have any questions? There we go.
No, I think they're
never mind.
leaving.
Boo!
No, that's okay.
Just kidding.
We love you.
Make sure you
just have to
post
go
about us
Just
on
an
social
all-female
media.
panel. You
The
can-
men, the oldest men in the
You
room.
didn't even
left.
pay
Just
for
had to
the
go
group's
pee.
picture. Jeez. Maybe the bar was closing. Yeah. A woman did it first. That's right.
So I have a question about how you improve your sets and your skills. Like my kids are in performing arts, so they have voice coaches, dialect coaches, acting coaches. Do you have some sort of equivalent of that, of somebody who helps you kind of really fine tune your presence on stage and your delivery?
I think that for me, especially my first 2 years, it was all about getting on stage. I'm also a former educator, so I was used to performing for a bunch of people that didn't want to listen to me. I feel like teaching is just a skill. It just helps you like feel rejected and accept it and move on. I do mics. I write. I overwrite. I'm in a writing group where I try to be challenged. I try to like run jokes by peers. It's really like the writing process. It's like edit, revise, repeat, and get on stage, and it just keeps happening. And I'll take a page, and it'll end up being just like 2 lines, probably a dick joke, just because I have penis envy. But yeah.
I used to do theater. I learned a little bit in theater, like your kids. So what are the names of the dialect coaches? But yeah, I used to do theater, and I used to be a trainer, which is similar to being an educator. So it was like stand up for 8 hours. It was pretty awesome. But that was it for me. Next, sorry.
Trial and error. That's mostly how all of us got to this. Like I have taken comedy classes and writing groups and other things, but just literally getting out there day after day, like you start to develop a muscle, like, you know what I mean? Like it takes, what's it called? Yeah, so also, didn't do much learning, you know what I'm saying? Didn't take many classes, just trial and error.
I've taken some. I mean, I was a theater kid, right? And like definitely took acting classes, and voice classes and stuff. Like learned, did lots of plays. But when it comes to stand-up comedy, I've taken one stand-up class, and it made me. I hated it, and I have a real big problem with authority, I think, and I just didn't like them. Like, I just don't like going to school. And I realized, even though it's like good for me, I didn't want to do that, to like sully this thing I love with it. But like improv classes, I know are really, really helpful for people that are that maybe aren't great at public speaking and want to start doing comedy. And I know it's helped tons of my friends. It's just not for me. But for me, it's all just trial and error on stage. I write on most of my stuff on stage. I like write an idea down, and then it happens over time with just doing it over and over and over again. And you can't just get off stage and forget what you just did. You have to review after you're done. Like I get off and I have my notes in my phone, thousands of them, and I'm like, that worked, that didn't work, or that didn't work. Oh, I said this wacky ass thing. Write that down. Because I always forget to record too. It's really good to record all of your sets and listen to them. I have a real problem with listening to my voice. Like I'm never gonna listen to this. But I forget all the time to just hit record. So I have to get off stage and just take little manual notes, But yeah, just repetition and being able to pay attention to the crowd. Like what did they like and what didn't they like? But that comes with being comfortable and doing it over and over again,
I feel like that's what I record everything too. I will say that recording it, I also talk to myself a lot. It's not like sometimes my son's like, who are you talking to? And I'm like, me. Or Grammy, rest in peace. But I feel like I talk it out, I record everything, and then I listen back. Like Avery said, it sucks to hear yourself, but it's worth it to know where the laughs are, because then I know how to cut the fat. And that's what I'm always trying to think is like, what's the next laugh? And am I saying too much? Am I pausing too long? Or did I get distracted? But yeah, it is a muscle, stand-up or public speaking. Anything that you do that has repetition, you got to work it out.
Yo, what's your LPM, dude?
You wish you'd
your
know.
laughs per minute.
That's a real thing.
It is, yeah, it's a real thing. It's a real thing.
Stupid.
Some white guy told me I needed to have more LPM, and I was like,
Yeah, guys always tell you need more LPM, you need more laughs per
Was
minute.
he from Austin?
I'm like, shut up, bro.
yeah.
I'm up there razzling and dazzling. You don't fucking
Oh, we have
know.
another question. Awesome. Another woman. That's right.
Yeah.
First off, I wanted to thank you all for still being in Texas, because I know that there's probably bigger and better markets, quote unquote, bigger and better. But we need some love here too. my question is, I used to do improv. Sorry, Avery.
I was
Improv's
really just
cool.
kidding. I was really just
And
kidding.
Avery does improv.
Yeah, I was really just kidding.
But something that I noticed during my time in performing comedy was that some of the most people critical of women and queer performers were women and queers and allies. And it was just kind of this, not necessarily not supportive, but it would happen kind of almost in the shadows or behind the doors, you know? And I was just wondering, how do you all handle it when there's someone that isn't really being supportive?
I'm so sorry that happened. I will say that it happens rarely now, and maybe that's because I'm 6 years into it, but sometimes it doesn't change. Like, I feel like women feel threatened by women, and that's just something that's like, I don't think they mean to be. I think that they're, especially with like stand-up, I don't know when that happened to you, but I feel like in the last maybe 10 years, as more women come into the scene, they do feel like this innate competition. And I don't think it's on purpose. I think it's because they're, maybe some of them are just bitches, but like I want to believe that it's not on purpose. I think that they just are so starved to get on the stage that, and that's the industry that is keeping us back, and that is bookers that book shitty shows, and that they create this competition between women, and they kind of make that community harder to build. And I've experienced it, but I always just kind of like, I feel like they're struggling with their own shit, so I just like let it roll off my back a lot when it comes from women. Rarely do I address it or like try to make them feel small, because I want there to be a community. I feel like we deserve it, and we shouldn't be fighting amongst each other, especially when we have the white man to get.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I also just try to let it slide off my back and let it drive me to be extra supportive to women and queer people around me, especially when I was like first starting out in comedy and felt so lonely and isolated, being like one of only a couple women at open mics. I hated that feeling of feeling just alone on an island. And so as I got a little further in comedy, and I would see, and I still am this way to this day, like if I see new women pop up or someone who just doesn't seem like a straight white guy, I go out of my way to make them feel more welcome. So the straight white guys are one day on an all straight white guy show because they are a minority in comedy and they need a little show like this.
I don't know, when you go against like your own or whatever, I just kind of treat them like a boomer grandpa, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you'll be dead soon. But I don't know, like I just feel like you let those things slide off and just like go to the next one, because it's as much as you find that there is support, like that's the same reason why some of us don't go to church, right? Because like the members ain't shit, you know what I mean? Like Jesus is cool, but y'all suck ass.
Bless your heart.
Actual advice, huh? I feel like it's so hard to critique because we hold women and queer people to such a high standard. Like if you're gonna get in it, you have to be the best. You have to be first. You have to, bypass the testosterone and be like numero uno, like estrogen in the room or whatever. And it's like let them compete. You know what I mean? We don't have to do that. You know what I mean? Like,
I feel like comedians forget that it's not even about us. It's about the audience. We have something else. We all have something to offer the audience and to make them laugh. My talent doesn't take away from yours. Yours doesn't take away from mine or hers or her. Like we all have talent together. We all have something to offer everybody. So it's just terrible. Like we women and girls and females and queer. Well, we've all been brought up to think that we should hate each other because you're me. And that sucks. I'm sorry they went through that. I really am.
Yeah, everyone has said everything. Yeah, it's sad, but
Also, tell me their names. We'll fight them.
yeah.
Avery will fight them.
Yeah, I'll just take my earrings off. I got you.
Screw the haters.
I'll protect you at all costs.
I think you got the badass women of comedy right here. Got your back, so
got
we're
you.
good.
I'll write a mean poem about them.
I love a mean poem.
That's my
Well, I appreciate
wheelhouse.
audience members for coming and asking questions. That takes guts, and I think like all the women that we've heard from on stage tonight, right? Like, just do it. Don't wait for a man to invite you to the lineup or for somebody else to open the door for you, even though that's really awesome if you can. And I think, women experience imposter syndrome a majillion times more than men do. So just get out there and do it. You don't have to be perfect, trial and error.
I will say, reach out to a woman that you admire in comedy. If there's someone that you think is really funny that you like watching and you want to do it, chances are if you just reach out and say, hey, I this is something I've been thinking about, they're probably going to be nice to you. I do it. I get messages like that all the fucking time, and I love that, and it makes me really happy. So like, please do, because not everybody's a bitch.
And don't give up. Me and Avery have been trying to do something together for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's the first time we finally
Isn't this
could.
cool?
So it's really, really awesome.
This is awesome.
Yes. But I want to give a big round of applause to Sonia, Avery, Genevieve, Angelina, Tori, Texas Public Radio.